right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former ECU linebacker, now with RFK Racing. He is Dustin Lineback. Dustin, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm living the dream. How y'all been doing?
Doing great. And man, Pirate Nation saw you last weekend. Had a really cool video promoting the purple and gold car, and we saw you All Star Weekend there as well. But you talked about it in the video, kind of a bittersweet story of why. Brad Keselowski was riding that purple and gold car. You took a lot of pride in it being a pirate, but can you tell us briefly once again how that all came to be?
Yeah, man. So we were calling it the pirate ship, and so my folks over at Solomon Plumbing, they have a lot of employees that graduated from ECU from the construction management program, and Danny, the founder of Solomon, he actually passed away about 3 weeks ago. So that's been kind of a heartfelt moment for us and for them, and he always wanted to do something. He likes doing crazy paint schemes, and something not really off the wall, but just something different and something that means a lot. And his son graduated from ECU, so D3 Danny the third came up with the paint scheme for this car, and they said, hey, we're gonna get on the car for the All Star race because we had the pit crew challenge the Friday night. So he said, I want you guys motivated to win that. And so we put him on the pole for that, which was great. And then we won the heat race. And then during the All Star race, man, we ran good all night and then ended up hitting the wall and crashing. But it's just a great story, for Solomon and those guys to do that for us with all the ECU ties from Solomon Plumbing for all the ones at RFK, which is myself and Brad's wife actually
Yeah.
paid. She graduated from ECU too. So I thought it was awesome, and I saw a lot of purple and gold shirts up there in the stands, and I'm pretty sure those were ECU Pirates watching us.
Awesome stuff. Dustin Lineback joining us. Dustin, yesterday on the show we had Phoenix Evans, former ECU lineman in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we got to talking about, I told him you were coming on the show, and he said, oh, yeah, man, Jeff Carr, he was big into it, Ed Watkins, but he said that he didn't remember, like, NASCAR folks coming out to pro day and stuff like that. He said the only opportunity he was talked to about outside of football was joining pro wrestling. So, how'd the NASCAR thing come to be for you? It seems like it's more and more popular now for college football players to get into post football.
Yeah, it is. It's becoming a big recruiting network. I got guys. I actually came to ECU's pro day, I think 2 or 3 years ago, looking for a tire carrier. I was
Wow.
eyeing on Bruce Bivens,
Yeah.
linebacker. He played hard, kind of like myself.
Yeah.
Nice. He was a perfect build. We don't want guys that are too tall or too big in this because everything's inches off the ground. And so, we're out recruiting because I can't do it forever. And we've got guys all over the country coming in from Iowa State, from Arizona State, D1 guys that don't quite make it in the NFL, or even if they do make it in the NFL, they stay a year or two and they want another opportunity. It's kind of like a hidden gem, and I'm actually kind of glad that it's coming to forth now that I'm on the back nine of my career because you're going to get some really superior athletes in here. And pit stop times since I've started went from 16 seconds all the way down to 7.
Man.
And the athletes they've just gotten better and better and better. And with Jeff, he actually taught me how to jack. We were both over at Hendrick Motorsports together. And a pirate helping a pirate. He taught me a lot of stuff that I use every single day, whether it's practice or at the racetrack. And so hopefully I can pass that down. But we still got Zico Pursuit. He's
Yeah.
still pitting too, so we got two pirates out here representing the NASCAR world. But it's becoming a new thing, and the pit stops now with a single lug nut are it's a sprint. It's basically an 8 second sprint and you go as fast as you can go, and that's just the pit stop. It's not as much as a fundamental skill sport as it was 10 years ago. Now it's
Right.
more athleticism and how fast can you go and how many times can you do it.
Man, that's interesting. Who's Zico hooked up with now?
So he's still at Hendrick, and he's on one of the affiliated cars with Spire Motorsports. I believe he's on the 7. Justin
Uh,
Haley's the driver, and he's a fueler.
Dustin, what makes a good jack man? What attributes do you need to have?
Well, you definitely got to have some athleticism, and you need to be strong. I think your strength is more important than the athleticism, but most importantly, you have to know how to manage risk. And because I'm starting to stop it. I'm like the quarterback, and so when I jack the car up, I hang the right front tire. I got to make sure that's secure, and then I have to check on the boys in the rear, make sure that tire's on, and then do my other job. And that's on all four corners. And a lot of guys will try and cheat time. They'll cut the car, maybe when the gun's not all the way stopped, trying to time it up. And if you hit it, great. If you're not, then you're going to lose a wheel. So that kind of risk management's a pretty big deal considering it's a 2 week suspension, $100,000 fine, and you got a driver going 200 miles an hour in a wall. So I think it's a lot of trust with your
Mm.
with your race car driver. I know Brad trusts me a lot, and I tell him all the time, man, you got kids, I got kids. We need to come back in one piece. That's probably the most important thing is managing the risk, and then overall you got to be extremely aggressive. Like I said, this pit stop's 8 seconds. You got to get negative pegs. You got to hit the car and get it jacked up basically before it stops because that's the new game. It's like hitting 100-mile-an-hour fastballs in baseball. They're coming and coming and coming, and you just got to make sure you hit them over the fence every time. But that's pretty much the gist of it. It's how many home runs can you hit and how far can you hit them.
Dustin Lineback joining us, and man, Brad Keselowski, the former champion, a name synonymous with NASCAR. And I ask all the time, like big time NASCAR fans, what's most important? Is it the car? Is it the driver? Is it the crew? And really, I know it all comes together, and they're all equally important. But you got to have some confidence going to the track every week with a guy like Brad Keselowski. Hasn't had the success of late that he once had, but you got to figure there's more wins in the future for you guys, right?
Yeah, and like I said, he's the ultimate leader. He's first class in everything he does, and he's helped revamp Roush Racing and Roush Fenway Racing into RFK. And when I first got here, we weren't tops of the board, and we weren't really competing for wins. Now we've just dealt with a lot of adversity this year on the six, but the 60 and the 17 with Busher and Priest, those race teams are competing every week for wins and top fives. And we've crashed, I think, 7 times. I think we have 6 DNFs, but we've had fast race cars in Kansas. We were leading the race and crashed. We put the car on the pole last week with a super fast car. So I'm very, very confident that we're going to get some more wins. And I think this weekend at the Coke 600 is going to be really good for us because we're trending up. We just don't have the results to see it. But Brad, he's still hungry and he wants to win. He wants to win for his own company. And I think that's important to him, but at the end of the day, this is our third group on pit road that we've had this year. We split up some of our guys on the six. We were a top five crew for the last 3 years,
Hmm.
but adding the 60 in, we had to kind of spread the wealth a little bit. And so, on the pit stop side of things, we've dealt with a lot of adversity this year, and we got a group that's very competitive right now. And I think that leading into the last 3 weeks has helped us get to where we need to be. And I think our cars have gotten a little faster in the last 3 weeks. And I think all that compounds into Brad's confidence. And when he's confident, there's not a better driver on the racetrack.
Dustin Lineback joining us. Dustin, I guess a conditioning test this weekend with just the length and I guess every weekend at the office for you is a pretty grueling day. But does it feel any different? The Coca-Cola 600, the longest race of the year, compared to some of the others?
Yeah, this is definitely a grind for us because you're going to pit every 30 laps, and it's not only just the pit stops. We're going in Saturday just to prep all the tires because we'll have 14, 15 sets of tires that,
Hmm.
you have to prep all that, the preparation that people don't see, the behind the scenes stuff. So we'll go in Saturday and do all that since it's here instead of, bombarding all that on us on Sunday morning. But we'll do anywhere from 8 to 12 pit stops, and that's almost double from your normal race. Usually it's 5 to 6. And so you're going to get a lot of opportunities, but there's also, a lot of opportunities for other guys too. And there's some great, great teams out there that are going to be trying to rip low eights and gain spots and keep him up front. So we're going to have our work cut out for us, but I'm excited. I think this is going to be a good opportunity for the six team to gain and maintain some spots and keep him up front.
Clip Rock here with Dustin Lineback, Jarrett Watkins producing. Jared, you got a NASCAR question? Because I'm gonna wrap it up with the Greg Hudson question for Dustin Lineback. Dustin was a great guest on the Greg Hudson show. Um, Man, I would ask you to just tell a story, but like I don't know what the overall aura of Greg Hudson, Dustin. How would you even begin to describe that?
Man, there's so much I could talk about him. He's as a football coach, you're not going to get any better football coach than him. But it's the stuff that he would, the locker room, just our linebacker meeting room was as entertaining as it was efficient, if you know what I mean.
Okay,
And we've had some great linebackers at ECU. And I'll tell you what, just being a part of that, just the crumb in the pie was awesome. And Coach Hud, he's a great father figure too, because we're not around our parents, and so he was always there for us, man, just as a person. And so I always looked up to him as a father figure, as a football coach. He's top of the line. There's no doubt about that. But man, he's funny. Like he got our locker room and our team, our defense to play for him. We believed in him. We believed that he believed in us. And it didn't matter your background, where you're from, what position, that defense loved him. And we all played hard for him. So I wish, coaches could stay around forever because
yeah,
the program would be outstanding. But man, he was, like I say, he's just first class in everything he does. And I actually saw him. I think it was maybe February or March. He come down to one of our practices. He was down at the coach convention and stopped by and watched some pit stop practice. So we kind of talked for a little bit, and he's doing great. And but he's one of a kind, man. You can't replace somebody like that.
yeah.
And I love
Great,
him to death.
great era of Pirate defense. Love watching y'all play. Love watching Coach Hud and his intensity during the games, and I love him telling stories too about the head games he would play, not just with y'all, but with Coach Rock Rogaman. And he said, man, he would have all y'all psyched out and just fired up, ready to play foot. You were mad about something and didn't even know what you were mad about or excited about,
Yeah,
but he said he
he
would
could
get
get
you
you to play,
boys.
man.
Yes, sir. Well, Dustin, we're up against it, so I'll let you run. Great to catch up with you. Let's do it again down the road. But good luck this weekend, man. When do y'all are y'all already set up there in Charlotte, ready to go? I guess.
No, we'll set up everything on Sunday. The race cars they have to be loaded up on the trucks and basically inside the garage Friday night,
Okay.
just by rule by NASCAR. So they're at the shop right now wrapping up the final touches and the details of the race car. They'll probably load that thing up today about 5 o'clock, and they'll drive it across the street and park it in there, and then they'll have a Friday off, and then Saturday they'll go in practice and qualify, and we'll go in and prep some tires, and Sunday we'll get ready to rock and roll for the 600.
Good deal, man. We'll be watching. Good luck to you, and Dustin, we'll do it again down the road, buddy. Appreciate you
Yep,
joining us.
sounds good. Thanks, Cliff. Appreciate it, brother. Y'all take care.